Good morning. It is Tuesday, and as I mentioned, I'm going to start doing more videos, coming in with no filters, completely raw, being authentic, being vulnerable, and just overall just keeping it 100, right? I think, as I mentioned in my previous video, I think it's time for people to be vulnerable, to be honest, right? It's not all the time a good day. We're not always having great experiences. Um, Sometimes it's just hard to think positive. Now, I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying don't. Try your best to, right? Because if we don't, we can definitely go and spiral down a rabbit hole, right? And just, welcome in depression and all that bad stuff, right? But we got to be real, right? Life is life and we're going to be faced with circumstances that is even going to question our faith. It's going to even have us questioning God, like, whoa, why this tribulation? What happened? What's going on here? That's me right now. And through my prayers, I do ask God, like, why is this happening? What is the lesson behind it? I am frustrated. I'm angry. Like, what's up? The only thing I don't understand, and that is for God to give me the answer, is for those that are true believers that believe in God, right? Life is not easy. If anything, you will go through tough tribulations. See how I had to breathe out? I get it. God went through so much. And I know that he keeps his promises. I keep saying that. You're going to see and hear me saying that he does keep his promises, right? And his timing is perfect. You just got to hold on. Sometimes you're just holding on by a thread and you just hold on. But I question that, and I know that he has good things, and, we have to go through certain things because that's where he's molding us. We learn a lesson and so forth. But sometimes those lessons are really, really raw. Okay? I'm not going to go fully disclosure today, but I'm going through it and I'm just like, God, all I can do is just, like I mentioned, it's just show up to work, pray, and I know the consequences out there, what could happen, what will happen if certain things are not aligned. But at this point, I'm like, there's just so much that is beyond my control. So if it's beyond my control, I leave it up to you, God. It's on you now, Anyways, it is Tuesday. And I did mention that I was going to go over and disclose how much I get paid, right? So, no filters. I'm a private contractor. I do psychotherapy. And in New York, I worked at a private practice when they had just started, they just started. So I was there for 7 years and I worked my way up to leaving at $60 per session. Okay. Sessions were 45 minutes, 30 minutes. For kids, it was always depending on the clinician's discretion. And then there were hour sessions, okay? Now, paperwork is still the same, okay? For me, that pay was good because if a client didn't show up and I still had, let's just say 3 people show up, I was okay, Even if 2 people showed up, all right, I'm okay. I'll still reschedule. I still have other individuals coming in on other days out of the week. right? Granted, I lived in New York. Rent for a studio, I was paying $1,300. I had just the same bills, except for, I didn't have to pay renter's insurance. I didn't have to pay a water bill. I didn't have to do a car payment because I had my Metro card. And that, I would say, I'm happy that I grew out of my fear of driving here, and I'm driving. Now I'm so comfortable that I'm like, damn, who is she? Who am I? But nonetheless, here, when I say that I'm like halfway, I am not getting paid $30 an hour. I'm getting paid a little more than 30. So, full disclosure, I'm getting paid $37. Okay? Mind you, I'm licensed. But that's not valid for this state to which I'm working on. Granted, because I do hold a license to practice, then that's why I'm still able to do the job that I do, even though it's for another state. Okay? So, you see what I mean? Half makes a big difference when the cost of living here in the state of Florida is just as in New York. Okay? So, full transparency. I'm not making it. For the past couple of weeks, my clients, and I get it, life be life and things are happening, but there are clients that I have discharged because they're not compliant, they're not ready, and there have been new cases assigned at that. And I understand not everyone is really ready for therapy. They think they are, but they're not, and it's okay. That was the reason why they initiated, to seek out therapy, because they know deep inside they need the help. But when it actually comes to the commitment, there you go. And that right there, that speaks value. We have to do some self-reflection, right? What's the fear behind commitment? What does that mean? What failed you? Anyways, I'm not gonna go in here and do a therapy session, right? But when I say numbers don't lie, I mean exactly that. For me, getting paid $37 and I just see 2 clients in a day, that's gas that I'm spending and mileage and my time. And it is frustrating for me because I still show up, but my bills are also showing up, like, damn. And those bills, those numbers on those bills are higher than what I make. So that's what I mean. There's a huge discrepancy, and I think people need to talk about it. Okay? Now, everyone's circumstances is different, right? People move here and they make it. Then we have the born and raised individuals. Great, right? We have those that come in at an early age and it's like, well, you wind up growing up here. To each their own, right? However, for those individuals, like I said, their circumstances are different, right? There are single women that make it. There are single moms that make it. And then there's the opposite, single women that don't make it, single moms that don't make it. Dads too, men too, right? I'm not gonna, not include them, there's individuals that make it, but they're married. So it's a 2 household income, right? There's others that they have family living together and they all help each other. Great, right? Nothing wrong, but that's how we're making it, right? Everyone's bills are different, right? Some people don't have to pay a student loan. I do, right? And I know many of us do. But even our student loans, the amount of loans that we've taken out is all different. So our payment back is different, right? So you see what I mean? Like, people are quick to assume that you're good. Oh, you get paid that much, you're fine. Are we really fine? You're just seeing the outer layer. You're not seeing the depths of things, you know? And that is one thing that I always look when I do therapy with my clients. I don't look at just the outside. I go and I explore the depths with them. And I know for many that's uncomfortable, and then for others it is very refreshing because they're like, damn, finally someone gets it. So yeah, today's a longer video, but yeah, I just wanted to share that, you know. And like I mentioned yesterday, it was more like food. Some people get food stamps. I don't get food stamps. And I have a 10-year-old who's growing, and he eats, and I love that. I have a growing boy, you know, but he eats, he snacks, you know. And when we go to the supermarket, I'm just like, damn, I'm on here like we got a budget. So it's getting raw, and I'm just here not filtering anything out. You know, I'm just being 100% authentic here. So tomorrow will be another video, and it's going to be an interesting one. Stay tuned. Bye.